This evening, for the second year in succession, thousands flocked to Durban Park for the flag-raising ceremony to usher in independence celebrations. The new town of Lethem was also in the limelight with its own kind of independence anniversary celebration on Thursday evening. Finally, the tale told to children by adults came to fruition. Babies do come by aeroplane. Guyanese granny chopped to death in Trinidad and Tobago. In the region, witness protection program is also an issue of concern on the island of St. Lucia. And internationally, a former late U.S. president is remembered on his 100th birth anniversary.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Ramble Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with Basil Bradshaw.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel as well as our website safetvguyana.com. Join us. Thousands came out to the 50+1 flag-raising ceremony on Thursday evening to observe Guyana's independence anniversary. Andrew Weeks reports that Head of State President David Granger said Independence Day celebrates the moment in history when, after 350 years of Dutch and British colonization, our peoples abolished foreign rule.
President David Granger called on citizens to preserve the Free State, establish a Green State, and create a cohesive state. Mr. Granger made those remarks in his Independence Anniversary message on Thursday last.
We established a free state with the hope of ensuring equality and eradicating poverty. It was the day on which we adopted our own constitution and erected institutions to govern ourselves and to guarantee our freedom.
The President's Independence Day address theme Diversity and Destiny said that there is the need to recommit to social cohesion by learning to accept and respect each citizen's values and beliefs, as well as to share the common space we called our homeland.
The Free State is one that is free from discrimination. It is one that is built on the basis of respect for cultural diversity, political inclusivity, and social equality.
The Free State recognizes our common and complex heritage, Mr. Granger said. It reminds us of Chinese Arrival Day, celebrated on the 12th of January, of Portuguese Arrival Day, celebrated on the 3rd of May, of Indian Arrival Day, celebrated on the 5th of May, of African Emancipation Day, celebrated on the 1st of August, and Indigenous Heritage Month, observed throughout September. He noted, too, that the notion of a free state recommits us to dismantling the division of geography, while adding that disparities between the hinterland and coastland and rural and urban communities must be eliminated so that no group feels excluded.
Fellow Guyanese, the cohesive state is concerned with constructing a multicultural society and with creating the conditions for diverse peoples to coexist. Society needs to be strengthened in each occupational sector, in each geographical region, in each community, and in each social stratum. The cohesive state is not a political expedient. It can be realized only by respecting the differences and the diversity of society, and by the removal of anger, hatred, ignorance, and poverty.
The opposition PPC should have been there to hear this and the entire president's independent message. Many are asking, is the PPC serious about working for a united country or just bent on self-rule?
Guyanese, the 51st anniversary of independence inspires us all to continue to work towards preserving the Free State, towards establishing a Green State, and towards creating a cohesive state.
Andrew Weeks, Channel 2, Headline News.
Thank you, Andrew. The newly commissioned town of Lethem also celebrated 51 years of independence with its own flag-raising ceremony. George Gonzalez, who was there in the town, reports that, like the capital city's ceremony, the annual event attracted residents from around the country and abroad.
Georgetown celebrated the nation's 51st independence anniversary in grand style on Thursday evening. Lethem also held its own Independence Day flag-raising ceremony, While it may have attracted much smaller numbers than the celebration at Durban Park, it was still a well-attended event given the size of the community. Recently, Lethem was declared a town. Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Dawn Hastings-Williams, was the keynote speaker of the event. She lauded residents for the achievement of becoming a town. She also spoke of the government's goal to empower hinterland regions such as Lethem.
Focusing on decentralizing so that you can take hold of your communities. You can plan, sit together, meet the members of your community so that you can achieve and implement all the plans that you have. You can achieve your goals and your dreams. Not those of wishful thinking, but there are some dreams that we can achieve together if we work in unity. I always say, united we stand, divided we fall. We have been hearing this over and over again, but this statement has a very strong meaning. It has a very strong meaning that we can all, if come together to develop our community, see the achievements and developmental goals. We can achieve our developmental goals and to make Lethem a model municipality. At this time,
citizens and even foreign dignitaries came to enjoy the night's celebration. While those in attendance ranged in all ages, there was an overwhelming majority of youth present. It should not be surprising that the youth also made up the majority of the cultural presentation. Following the cultural segment and the government speeches was the main event, the flag-raising ceremony.
Before, have so many Guyanese acknowledged living on the poverty line. All over our gem-like homeland, a blessed nation by nature. Our farmers and public servants struggle, working.
Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Allicock, representatives of the Brazilian government, the mayor of the newly declared town, Carlton Beckles, and PPP parliamentarian for Region 9, Alistair Charlie, also addressed the audience.
Felt a bit disappointed with the speeches we had from the opposition, especially the MP, Mr. Alistair Charlie. At that time, I felt that I was more like a Labor Day rally than at an independence celebration. We cannot use these occasions to come to discredit the government. It's a time for us to reflect from where we came from, where we are, and where we intend to go.
His politically charged address was not well received by Mayor Beckles, who likened it to a Labor Day rally speech. Insert. Nonetheless, Mayor Beckles was pleased overall with the night's celebrations.
Tonight, based on the turnout, I felt good about the turnout that we had here. The culture items also was very interested.
The municipality has plans to make next year's celebration even grander. Additionally, the mayor disclosed that several events are planned for this year, including its first ever Town Week in October. Tomorrow, Headline News will have more on Lethem's upcoming festivities, mainly Lethem Town Week, scheduled for the 15th to the 21st of October of 2017. This has been George Gonzalez for Channel 2 Headline News.
Thanks, George. The crew aboard a Guyana Defense Force aircraft faced a different type of turbulence on Saturday as a young indigenous woman delivered her baby mid-air. Luckily for them and the mother, there was a young medical student on board to guide the delivery. Here is more from Andrew Weeks.
According to a news source report, it was just before 6 p.m. on Saturday that one of the GDF aircrafts was transformed into a delivery room during a scheduled flight out of Fireview, an indigenous village in North Rupununi. The pregnant woman was on the flight as she had anticipated her delivery time to be close, but the baby was ready to come into the world above the clouds. News source went on to state that the GDF disclosed that a medical student of Texas American University, who has since been identified as Jamina West, was on the board and spearheaded the successful delivery. The medical student who found herself in an emergency situation in the air is the daughter of Chief of Staff Brigadier Patrick West and a former student of the Bishop's High School. At the delivery, it was revealed that the mother had developed some minor complications as the infant was in the breech position, and so a request was made to have her to be air dashed to the city hospital. It was during that air dash that the baby decided that it was time to see the new world. Both mother and baby have since been transferred to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where they are under close observation. The two pilots, Major Mahabir Ramraj and Patrick Nichols, have since expressed how elated they were to have experienced an event of that nature, and that the fact that both mother and child are safe. I'm going to stop with that. Andrew Weeks, Channel 2, Headline News.
Thanks again, Andrew. Coming up in Headline News after the break, clarion call for juvenile justice reform made by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, and that chopping death of a Guyanese woman in Trinidad.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
It's always fresh, tasty, enticing, and the best in town, served hot from our experienced chefs. Come and enjoy our daily meals with a wide and delicious menu to choose from. Also a wide variety of pastries and dessert. We can also host your luncheons, cocktails, parties, and formal gathering. For reservation, call 225-1730, 225-0038, and delivery 225-0195 or 225-0159. The new thriving Chinese restaurant, 32 Main Street, Georgetown.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook, Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu has called for juvenile justice reform at this year's session of the Child Rights and Independence Workshop conducted by the Rights of the Child Commission. George Gonzalez tells us that the Prime Minister personally intervened in one recent criminal case involving a child.
It is often repeated that children are the future. As such, they are a nation's most valuable resource, thus making Monday's workshop of particular importance. The theme of the workshop conveys the belief that ensuring the rights and protections of the nation's youth is the full and final embodiment of national independence. Several government representatives spoke, including Prime Minister and First Vice President Moses Nagamutu. It was here that he delivered an unscripted but impassionate call for the improvement of the treatment of Guyana's youth, especially in relation to culture, education, the media, and most importantly, the justice system. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu took great umbrage with the treatment of children in the justice system.
Please see children in jail. Children, they are given the menial task of fetching water and washing the floor, and they were held among adults. Well, there's no place, or ought to be no place, for children in jails or detention centers made for adults.
On the subject of juvenile justice, the Prime Minister recounted a very recent case that warranted his personal intervention. Over the weekend, the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission engaged in a crackdown on illegal mining near Kaicher Falls. The miners were subsequently arrested and brought to Georgetown to face the magistrate's court. It was then revealed that children were among those in police custody.
I called the Commissioner of Police and the crime chief to find out if the report I received was true. And if true, then what has been done with the child? And I was assured that there was a child, 2-year child, maybe more, but they were taken care of when the parents were brought out by the unit that handles child care, and that they were safe. And I raised the issue also about the mother of a 2-year child, that if the police will have to conduct their investigation and are not interfering in the police work, that perhaps they could choose to release the mother in the care, in the custody of some responsible person. And I understand that the chairperson of the Amerindian People's Association came forward to receive the mother. I believe that I'm giving you this information because I feel very strongly that there is no place in detention camps for children. And I know it could leave tremendous trauma for children growing up, having to face what adults face when they're arrested and taken into detention.
Prime Minister Nagamutu also expressed discontent with the criminal charge of wandering.
In our laws, for a child to be charged with wandering, that for me is an alien concept, that you want to place a child in police custody for wandering. You placed a child in a rehabilitation home, in a center of education, a place of learning, and not charge them criminally for wandering. There must be perhaps a reason.
It is his belief that there is usually a reason why a child would run away from home. Often, the child is fleeing an abusive home situation or some other extreme case. As such, the children should not be treated as criminals, but as possible crime victims. This has been George Gonzalez for Channel 2 Headline News.
We heard you, George. A Guyanese woman whose name was given as Periana reportedly met a horrible demise at the hands of her partner in Trinidad and Tobago. Police believe Periana was hacked to death on Friday night, although the gruesome discovery of her body was made the following day in the apartment building. The suspect, who resided in the same apartment, is said to be over 65 years old and sells clothes in Tobago. He has gone into hiding. Tenants recalled yesterday that Periana moved into the apartment about 3 months ago with the suspect. She kept to herself, but almost daily they would hear screams from inside the apartment, leading them to strongly suspect she was being physically abused. The tenants, who all did not want to be identified, told police that on Friday at 10 p.m. they heard screams from inside the apartment. A short while later, the screams stopped and there was silence. Minutes later, they saw the suspect walk out to the road with 2 plastic bags in his hands, boarded a car, and has not been seen since. Guyana, police sources said, was chopped all over her body, and police recovered a blood-stained cutlass. No arrest has been made. Still ahead, the Witness Protection Program concern in St. Lucia, and JFK remembered on what would have been his 100th birth anniversary.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
Now opened, the new thriving Chinese restaurant Providence location. Perfect for large events, exquisite menus featuring traditional Korean, Chinese and Western cuisine, elegant grand dining room and seats for over 500 persons. Also additional seating on the upper flat, luxurious VIP rooms and an elevator for your comfort. The new thriving Chinese restaurant second location above Massey Supermarket, Amazonian Mall, Providence. For reservation call 623-4097 or 657-9067.
In news from the region now, the National Security Minister in St. Lucia wants to collaborate with regional territories in establishing a witness protection program. During a police town hall meeting in Jacmel on Thursday, Herman Guild Francis conceded that it is difficult to relocate witnesses to crime on the island. Back in January, the minister hinted at holding deliberations with counterparts at a scheduled regional security meeting on the Witness Protection Program. HTS News Force reports.
National Security Minister Herman Gill Francis believes St. Lucia is too small to have an effective witness protection. Therefore, he reveals that the island will be working with other OECS territories to see how they can provide safe harbor for witnesses in criminal cases. He made this revelation Thursday at the Jacmel Town Hall meeting hosted by the High Command of the Royal St. Lucian Police Force. Law enforcement often requests public assistance in solving violent crimes, but individuals are hesitant to come forward for fear of reprisal. Typically, a witness offers information and testimony in exchange for state protection and a new identity. While necessary, Francis says protecting informants comes at a cost.
It's a very expensive program. No matter where we put somebody in St. Lucia, somebody will find it. The island is much too small. So we are dealing with other countries now like Trinidad and the OACS, Barbados, to see how we can put a witness in that witness protection to live overseas. Like I tell you, it's not going to be easy because the government of that country has to find a job for the individual. You have to get a house. You have to take if that person has 4 or 5 children, you have to bring the children along, get schooling for them, and every month you must be able to give them a stipend to take care of themselves.
The minister says the police force will work to ensure that identities of witnesses are protected. He revealed that consideration is being given to the use of an online platform for witness testimony.
Give your evidence via Skype and those sort of things, so you don't have to be physically in court. There are also plans that when you do go to court as a witness, the only persons who actually going to see you are the lawyers, the judge, and the police officers and the jurors. So the criminal himself doesn't see you. Other persons in the court just coming to listen to the case will not see you. So there are a lot of things that we're trying to do. Even when it comes to identification, if you have seen somebody doing something, you can go to the police station. There is going to be this glass that you stay behind the glass and you identify the individual. The person you have identified does not know who has identified him. So we're trying a lot of things to make sure that the identity of witnesses is kept secret.
Despite the challenges, the National Security Minister implored the public to cooperate with the police.
You're given evidence or information, that person who has committed a crime can be dealt with accordingly. If that person is not dealt with, then he has an opportunity to do more, and we don't want that. I always tell people sometimes we see things happen, but because it's not a family member or a friend, then we say, well, we're not involved in that. But when it happens to your family, then you're asking other people to come and assist you. So you have to be your brother's keeper. We cannot allow criminals to run us. We should not be afraid of criminals. If you stand together collectively with the assistance of the police, we can deal with any criminal. They're going to ride. If you look at some of the things that criminals do, they shoot in the front and they run, they hide in. These are not people that are brave people, these are cowards. And if we band ourselves together, we can defeat these persons.
Despite a witness protection program, some witnesses are still reluctant to come forward. Recently, the acting commissioner of police urged to confide in a trusted person in society who can relay the information to the authorities to help save lives and put criminals behind bars. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.
And internationally, as we approach what would have been President Kennedy's 100th birth anniversary, Dana Bash looks ahead to the family's new generation entering the political arena. CNN has more.
Tomorrow is the 100th anniversary of President John F. Kennedy's birth. I'll be celebrating at a special ceremony at the Kennedy Center here in Washington. While Camelot lives on there forever, there's a new crop of Kennedys looking to join the family business.
The energy, the faith, the devotion.
It's one of President John F. Kennedy's most enduring legacies, his call for Americans to serve.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
It inspired millions to join the Peace Corps, enlist, and run for office, including his own children and grandchildren. His daughter Caroline, home after serving as President Obama's ambassador to Japan, hasn't ruled out following in her father's footsteps to the Senate and maybe even the White House.
The fact that people would come up to me every day and say, you know, I got involved in my community because of your father's inaugural speech. They were so inspired by President Kennedy's vision of service and of American leadership that I think that really kept him alive.
JFK's great-nephew, Joseph Kennedy III, is already serving in Congress, where he's taken up health care, the signature cause of his great-uncle, Senator Ted Kennedy.
I was struck last night by a comment that I heard made by Speaker Ryan, where he called this repeal bill, quote, an act of mercy. With all due respect to our Speaker, he and I must have read different scripture. The one that I read calls on us to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to shelter the homeless, and to comfort the sick.
And on the campaign trail now is Chris Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's brother Bobby's son. He launched his campaign for Illinois governor in February by invoking his family's legacy.
They embrace the notion that we're all in this together, that our country is the land of opportunity. That's the country I want for my kids.
And who knows, even younger Kennedys may be eyeing public office too. JFK's granddaughter Rose, who bears a striking resemblance to her grandmother Jackie, appeared in a video this week commemorating the 100th anniversary of her grandfather's birth.
I'm inspired by my grandfather's sense of equality, his courage in naming the injustices in American society.
It ought to be possible, in short, for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or his color.
But we are still faced with tremendous inequality and injustice.
And all eyes are on Jack Kennedy's grandson, also named Jack, who is studying the former president's legacy carefully.
My favorite speech of his is his speech that he gave at Rice University explaining to America why we should go to the moon.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
And in that speech, he said that great challenges are actually great opportunities. So I think it's important to remember that those are opportunities and that we can rise to the occasion if we choose good leadership.
So will he run?
And I'm inspired by my family's legacy of public service. It's something that is I'm very proud of, but I'm still trying to make my own way, figure things out, and so stay tuned.
And that's Channel 2's headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 headline news on Facebook, YouTube, and SafeTVGuyana.com. You can also tune in tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning for a rebroadcast. Until then, I'm Basil Bradshaw signing out from this newscast.